We started Teen Aircraft Factory 12 years ago. And the intent then was to just involve some youngsters in building an airplane, and those that might be interested in learning to fly could learn in the airplane that they built. We found that that was a very rewarding thing, and from what was intended to be a one-off, we're now flying our 5th airplane today, and commemorating that with the first flight for all of the youngsters that spent the last 2 years of Saturdays building this airplane. This is an offshoot of the Experimental Aircraft Association, our local chapter 180. Since the national franchise does not allow us to own a flying airplane, we have split off and created Teen Aircraft Factory of Minnesota, which is a 501c3 charitable foundation, and that's who runs this airplane build project for the youngsters. Actually, about a third of our entire membership is involved in the Teen Aircraft Factory program. So every Saturday, they're out there working with us. Some are people that have built multiple airplanes on their own. Some have never built an airplane but are learning the techniques from the other mentors. Many are pilots, but not all. And it's been a great growing experience and a good thing for the chapter to have for activities for our mentors and members. When we begin, we order a kit from Vans Aircraft Factory. The kit that we specialize with is a Vans model RV-12, which is considered a light sport aircraft. It was designed as a kit for the first-time builders, so it lends itself well to our youngsters. It's a riveted all-metal aircraft. It flies at 138 miles per hour on a 100 horsepower Rotax engine. It uses about 3.8 gallons of fuel per hour to do that. And we're fortunate we get to buy our fuel at the local gas station. We don't have to use aviation expensive fuel to do that. It carries 2 people, and typical range we like to fly is maybe 3-hour legs. So it's a comfortable airplane to do that with. It's easy for the youngsters to learn how to fly in, and it's a very stable aircraft to do that with. From when we receive the kit, they open the crates. They take out the metal, they inventory all of the parts that come with it to make sure we have everything, and then they start the assembly process to put it all together. We estimate it takes us about 2 years of working every Saturday to put one together. So these youngsters make a commitment to us for 2 years. And some of them have no intentions of going on in any aviation pursuits, but most do have an interest in some sort of aviation. They get exposure to a lot of different things, not just aeronautical engineering, but mechanics. The time that they spend building this airplane with us for 2 years is counted towards their aircraft and airframe and power plant mechanics licensing, which takes over 2,000 hours for them to get. So they could be mechanics, they could work at an airport, they could be in finance for the airport authority, or any airport for that matter. So there's a lot of opportunities and things that they get involved with. Air traffic control, another profession that is available to them. So it just awakens them to a lot of things that are available. For the most part, we get extremely good support from the families. They're happy that the youngsters are involved in something that keeps them interested and occupied. And I'm sure you're going to get to talk with some more of our youngsters, and you'll see where they've come from and what's happened. We'll also have a couple out here today that I know are coming that are from previous build projects. So they would be interesting to talk to see what they've done with their life as well. This is just awesome for them. And to get their first flight in the airplane that you built is an exciting, and I imagine we'll have a few stomachs that might be a little, no barf bags are needed today, I'm sure, but there'll be a lot of butterflies in the stomachs, I'm sure. I would have one if I was on the first flight. I would like them to know that though we think that our program is all about building aviation, but what we have learned over the years is that the truth is we're building people. Our youngsters are growing up, watching them grow, seeing them turn into productive adults, almost adults. That's the wonderful thing that we're getting out of this. And that's what keeps our mentors coming back. Well, right now, we're limited to about 15 to 20 youngsters per airplane. And we're flat out of space. So we need to have a larger space built that we can accommodate more youngsters and build more airplanes in a shorter period of time. And that's going to take some money and investment. You can go to our website, which is teenaircraftfactory.org, and there are QR codes in there where we can accept donations. We are a 501c3, so your donations are tax deductible, and we appreciate anything that we can get towards that goal of building our own hangar. Sarasota Manatee Airport has seen what we're doing, and they have rewarded us with a land lease. So the land has been given to us. We just have to raise the money to build the hangars. So that's our next obstacle to overcome, so we can handle more youngsters in a shorter period of time. Thank you.
My parents saw an advertisement in the Bradenton Herald, I believe, and that was for the conclusion of the first aircraft. So I met Rick and I met the Young Eagles during the EAA flights. So every third month of the week, or every third week of the month, we'd get together and go out and fly for people who haven't flown before, children, I believe, 5 to 17. That was my introduction, and I started the plane build towards the end of the second plane, and I just fell in love with it. It kind of led me down the path to go into Embry-Riddle, and I recently graduated with my bachelor's degree in aerospace engineering. I didn't know much about aircraft going into it. I learned about the fabrication process. I learned about all that goes into an aircraft. And I also learned more about how it works, how it controls, and just the general tools of the trade. I had the opportunity to intern at SRQ and a local company called Unipac, and I was fortunately just hired by the company, Unipac Aviation, as a reverse engineer. I don't think I would have gotten into aviation or even had the thought to look into aviation without, Rick Romanoff, Martin, and the entire team down at the Teen Aircraft Factory. Something that I really enjoyed was the fact that I learned see it, do it, teach it, and that really benefited me in my learning style. Seeing someone put in a rivet, having them put a rivet in myself, and then teaching someone else, a new person, how to put in a rivet. I had the fortune of coming back and being a mentor before going to college, and I'd periodically try and come back and see how everything's going. Make sure they're doing a good job. When I started, there was four of us, just four guys, and then all the mentors. And it's definitely nice to see it grow and see more people. I've seen people come and go, but I've definitely seen people stay. And it's a great thing to have that experience, to have people who are interested or even just have the experience. It's good to know what you want to do and what you don't want to do. I've really had experience with the RV-12, but through the EAA program, I've just learned so much more about different aircraft. I went for aerospace engineering, so I've learned about planes and rockets and satellites, and it's been really exciting stuff. And I heard of SpaceX, I knew of them, but until I really got into aviation, which opened the door to space travel and all this, I never really gave it two thoughts. But I recently had the opportunity to watch the SpaceX rockets land, and that's something incredible. I would say even if you're not interested, it'd still be something fantastic to check out. It is sometimes brutal, those Saturdays, waking up and going and working in the hot sun, but I think it was incredibly rewarding for me. And I think even if you don't have an interest, you might surprise yourself. I really enjoyed it, and the people I met along the way. I met great friends. That's even how I met my roommate in college. We met through this program when we decided to live together our freshman year. I never would have had interest in doing this. I mean, I'm interested in getting my pilot's license. I'm interested in pursuing aviation further, and none of this would have been started without the Teen Aircraft Factory. I would say if you have an inkling of interest, or even if you don't, it'd still be something worth checking out. Because even if you don't like it, it's good to know what you don't like, but I'm positive that if you have an interest in aviation, you'd love doing this. I think it's important because, and I could be wrong on this, but I believe this is kind of the first program of its kind. I've never heard of people coming together and building airplanes like this. I didn't even know before this program you could buy aircraft kits and do it yourself. But I think as the program grows and as it brings in more people, I think those bigger facilities are necessary. I mean, granted, we could stand out here in the hot sun working all day, but if we want to keep working on aircraft and keep bringing in new people, there's only so much we can do with the space we have right now. So I love and would definitely support growing those facilities, and as long as the program's around, I know I'll be here singing its praise.
12 years ago, Martin Sobel had the idea. He wanted to institute a program where we could employ youngsters, help them to get a start in aviation. I was president of the chapter at that time, EAA 180, and I said, yeah, I think that's a great idea. We as a chapter sponsored the hangar, et cetera, and I signed on as vice president so Martin could get it off the ground. And so that's 12 years ago. During the period of time, we have built 4 airplanes. The one we have out here today that the youngsters are getting a chance to fly in, the ones that built it. This is kind of the graduation ceremony for that particular airplane. We have quite a wide variety of experiences in aviation. Actually, mine was in the military. I was, besides being a military jet pilot, I was also involved in aircraft maintenance throughout my entire career in the Navy. Actually, when I first joined the Navy, I was a jet engine mechanic. A number of our people have worked in the airline business, military, and other aspects. And we have some people that just came in off the street because they had an interest in airplanes. already maybe flying, but they had never built anything, wanted to learn how to do it, wanted to take part in our program to, as I like to say, we build an airplane, that's the end product, but the real project is building children or building youngsters to be responsible adults. We have them sign a contract. It's a commitment to us, a commitment to themselves that they will show up on each Saturday. Now there are certain circumstances, vacations and holidays, etc., where there are excuses for not showing up. But it's about a year and a half to 2 year program, start to finish, from the time we start building. Actually, this airplane is number 3. So we built number 3, and the gentleman that flew it in came and helped build it toward the end, and he's been flying it ever since. Number 4, which we're flying today for this group of youngsters. We started about 2 years ago, and we had a few issues with the supply issues, etc., like everything else. So we had a few hiccups along the road, but it's done. It's been blessed by the FAA. It's been test flown, and all the youngsters get a chance to fly in it today and probably get a little stick time with it as well. And as you can see, a lot of their family members, their siblings, their parents are here to help to participate in this event. We call it the graduation for this group, number 4. And so they get to fly in the airplane they built. They got to see it all come together from different little pieces here and there, that one team was working on doing something over here and another one over there and a third and a fourth. And they build their individual components, and eventually they all migrate into one airplane. And we inspect it very rigorously. The FAA does as well. And it's an ongoing thing. The volunteers, I've been doing it for 12 years now, but we have new volunteers come in and out, our mentors, and we'll be starting another airplane. We have another airplane already underway, 5, which is about half done, close, which will be probably finished next spring. And then we have start another airplane, number 6, probably September, October timeframe. So we'll have another group of 15 youngsters that'll be signed up to start that one. Just speaking of the youngsters, they come in, we from various different high schools. We like to concentrate really on at-risk youngsters for whatever reason, family situations and whatever, to try to help them get started. Some of the youngsters we get don't know one end of a screwdriver from the other, but we teach them and we work with them individually. Each mentor, we like to have maybe 2 to 3, maximum of 4, working with each mentor. And what it does is it teaches them how to use tools. Safety is a big concern, a big issue. We stress that all the time as far as that's concerned. But they learn how to work as a team to accomplish a task. So coordination, teamwork, all those type of things. And the rewarding thing for us, since we get a great big paycheck every month. Half of our team are young women, and they buckle right down. They're just as good. In fact, most often better. At least when it comes to attention to detail. And as we were setting up to have this interview, there were 2 young men standing here. One just finished college at Embry-Riddle, and the other one's getting ready to start aeronautical engineering at University of Florida. And we have a lot of youngsters that go on into the military, or they go on into some other phase of aviation, and a number that don't, but at least they've gained the experience of how to work, show up on time, be a member of the team, etc., etc., etc. I could go on forever, but the big paycheck for us is to see them develop. Generally speaking, we don't have to go out and recruit. They show up, they've heard of the program, either through the internet or through our chapter, the EAA Chapter 180, which obviously I'm a member of. And several things. One, they may already have some experience in the aviation field, or 2, they want to learn. They just want to help. They want to be a part of the program. And they learn as well. If they haven't got the experience, they learn as well, just as much as the kids do. So you know, the mentors we have are what make the program work. And it's a, you know, a volunteer organization, and people are willing to come out just like today and set up for this this graduation party, if you will, cookout. And we couldn't operate without it. We have a dedicated crew of mentors, the youngsters. We normally have a group of 15 that start each aircraft, but we'd like to expand that and make it more available to other youngsters in the community. Manatee Technical College is starting a A&P program here shortly. They're building a building down at Sarasota Bradenton Airport, and so there's a great interest in aviation. There's also a tremendous need in aviation, not only for pilots, but for aviation maintenance personnel, etc. So, I mean, it's a ready-made job. There are some airlines out there right now that will send you through what we call A&P school, which is airframe and power plant school, and pay you well to go to school so that they will have a graduate that knows what they're doing and can work for their airline for some period of time thereafter. Obviously, we'd like to have the vision to be out there. They know about us, what we're doing, etc. We obviously like as much financial support as we can get. We are have plans, long-range plans of on the airport there at Sarasota of building our own facility for the purpose of team build, but also for the purpose of the Civil Air Patrol. And what we want to make it is a aviation learning experience for the young people of the community. Classrooms, the air hangar, etc., so that we have kind of a central point for those who are coming out of the high schools or in high schools that have any type of interest in aviation or mechanics, etc. So that's our long-range plans. We have designs, we are raising money, and we'd like to raise some more money. Any of those individuals out there in the community that have the expertise to raise money or are able to contribute to our program, we ask your support. It's for a fantastic cause.
I've been in aviation since the Marines, and I've always had this thing. And there was an ad on the internet, Barnstormers, and I saw this advertisement for Teen Aircraft Factory. So one day I decided, me and my wife, I said, we'll drive over and take a look at it. We drove over to Sarasota, met these people, saw the beginning of this plane I'm sitting on. Before I left, I bought the plane and met a really great group of guys who were very dedicated to letting these kids get an idea of what it's like to put something together, and at the finish, they can fly it. They can get in it and take a ride. As I showed you earlier, back here in the Appalachia, there is every signature of every kid who built this plane, and they got to fly in it before I did. It was still in the test flight, so you know when they build it, you have to have a minimum number of hours so you feel comfortable with it. So they do that with the kids and a test pilot, which in this case was Rick Romanoff. You've already interviewed him. A great gentleman, very dedicated, as most of these people are. The commander, he's a great guy, a great mentor. Now you know as well that he is a war hero as well. And we both have eaten some of the same dirt. I was in the Marines flying the OV-10, and he flew jets off a carrier. I ain't doing nothing that's moving. I want something to be down terra firma. So, but it's been a real inspiration to watch some of these kids move on, and you've heard the history and seen what they've done to this point. Where they've gone? They've gone on to Embry-Riddle. They've gone on to other schools to do things. I hope that we were a part of the inspiration that they said, you know what, I'd like to know more about this. I want to know more about that, and do something with their life instead of just start flipping burgers and be happy with what you get. I went in the Marines March 17th, 1969. And I grew up on a farm in Michigan, and Lord knows I couldn't afford flight lessons and stuff, but when you went in the Marines at that point, in 69, we were right in the middle of a war, so they weren't being too picky. So, you want to fly? All right, we'll do it. Close ground air support. Your life expectancy is 6 to 10 months. But, hey, if I learned to fly out of this, it was a chance I was willing to take, and I had enjoyed it. So, yeah, I got to learn to fly, I got my ticket, and I've been flying ever since. And I flew in Michigan, I flew here, and there's so many things to do down here. Because of people like this, there is events that go on everywhere. Whether they're barbecues or fly-in for charitable contributions, and it's not just for them. Sometimes they have a charitable contribution they want to do, so they have a cookout like this, and we all fly in and do a little donation and stuff, and that's a part of it. We're all in this together, and I'd like to think that when the chips are down, they'd be there for me as well. And I pretty much feel comfortable knowing that they would be, and vice versa. So that's why I flew over here. You know, they don't pay me to fly over here, but I enjoy coming over and see the guys, and Rick and Jim and Ron and all these people are not just people I worked with. These are my friends. I've known them for a long time. And some of these kids, you can tell in their face their interest and the depth of their interest. And when they're looking and questioning, and it's inspiring to lead them to the answers, and that's to know that they're going to do something with that information, and move on with their life. And that's good, because as you know today, there's so many kids that are just doing nothing with their life. I think the best way I could describe what it's like here is these kids don't show up with excuses. They come here and they're ready to go. I mean, they talk to each other, they intermingle with each other about things that need to be done. To watch these kids figure out a problem together, and then go out there and put this together and realize that, oh, hey, that's good, it looks good, it works as advertised. And this is proof of it. This is number 3, and I've got a little over 200 hours in it now, and performs flawlessly, and I couldn't have asked for a nicer aircraft. It really was. And then when I went to Oshkosh the first time, I had 16 hours on this. I landed, and there's no wrap or anything. It was just a white generic plane. But I'd put it up against any of the colleges that built these, because there were shows up there for people who were advertising and so on and so forth. The college programs where they built these planes. This plane, and I'll put this up against any one that these colleges did. And these are kids. I'm going to show you something. Here it is. That's called an RV grin. When you give that kid the stick and he's flying around, he's not in panic. He's got a smile like that. He's hooked. And I said, all right, a little bank to the right, a little bank to the left. Let's do a little climb, a little descend. And he says, and he thinks to himself, I built this. I did this. And that seed stays there forever. And if you're a pilot, you know that once you get this in your blood, it's worse than drugs. I have worked in about 3 different companies after I graduated from college. And every single one of these companies used my ability to fly to perform service for them. I was on the team that invented the very first ATM. And of course, back then they were called the 24-hour bankers, and they meant 24 hours. So when they'd break somewhere and they'd need a part, they'd call me, because I'm the only pilot they had, and I worked for the company, so it was a write-off for me, it was a write-off for them, everybody's happy, I got flight time and having a blast. But there's so many really great experiences, just to one that I always remember, and I have 7 kids, and I always talk about this, and I flew into a little place called Grand Prairie, Texas. It's between Dallas and Fort Worth, and they have a water tower there, big water tower, and the lights go in a circle around it like this, and they back up like this. When you're on final approach, you're looking at this thing and you're thinking there's a spaceship out there. And I said, one of these days I got to do that. And my oldest daughter, I took her out there once just to show it to her. We're on our way, and I flew down the Grand Canyon with her. So it's been a thrill. And now as I'm getting to that age, I'm glad to see that we're passing this passion on. What I could say to any child, any kid in high school, any college student, find your inspiration. Whether it's plumbing, whether it's electrical, Whether it's flying, maybe it's building these planes, maybe it's the avionics. Whatever your passion is, find your inspiration and stick with it. Because if you like doing what you do, you'll never go to work. To see some of these women who are flying jets for the Air Force, and their reflexes are sharper than ours. So I encourage a woman, if she wants to do that, don't be held down by stereotypes. Again, find your inspiration and move on it. We've had some girls here, that one girl that I don't think she said 3 words the whole time she worked on this. And when she graduated, she went to Emory-Riddle. It's good to feel that we've had a part of that, And I don't have much left. I mean, so if I can do something to help the next generation move on and have them come back someday and inspire somebody else, even if it's not in aviation, just to inspire somebody to do something other than sitting on the couch watching television. When I come here, I make an effort to keep myself on my best behavior. I mean, sometimes, like if I stub my toe or if I hit something, it's always, just let it slide and suck it up, So I don't want these people to think that I'm better than them, but I want them to know that you can talk to somebody without yelling at them, without cursing at them. And my father used to say that cursing was a sign of a weak mind. You have 2 choices in life, right and wrong. And I see so many kids going down the tube with drugs, so many kids getting involved with the wrong people. Well, this is your opportunity. These are the right people. And if this is something that blows your skirt up, come and take a look. It don't cost you a dime. These people are very friendly. They'll let you take a look around and so on and so forth. And if I thought it would make a difference, I'd take you flying myself. Because there it is. I mean, once you either get it, if you don't, I told you, that's an RV grin. Once you get it, you got it. Every time I'm flying, I just love this thing. So I get airborne, I get up to altitude, put on the autopilot, put some music in my ear. I'm happy as a clam, that big smile on my face. So, and as long as I can do it, I'm 74, and I'm still pushing it, So I stay active, stay healthy, and I've stayed away from drugs. I mean, that's what we're trying for. And each and every one of these guys have done the same thing. And when these kids come to us and ask a question, no matter how redundant it is or how simplistic the question may be, we don't judge. We indentate, we go out of our way to tell them the answer in detail. So they got their answer, and they go on and move on, and they start seeing this, and when it's all done, my God, I built this thing. Every signature in that back is these kids who built it. And every time we show up, and some of these kids are here, they're strutting around like peacocks. A lot of people have gone out of their way to make sure that this is going to succeed. And a lot of us older mentors are starting to fade out of this program, and not because we want to, it's just the way nature put it. So get involved. This doesn't pay for itself, and a lot of people have gone out of their way to make sure that this is going to succeed. And a lot of us older mentors are starting to fade out of this program, and not because we want to, it's just the way nature put it. So step up, take a look, come over, get inspired, see what you're getting yourself into, and hopefully you'll get the bug as well.
So senior year in high school, I heard about Teen Aircraft Factory through word of mouth through one of my best friends. And with that, when I found out that they build airplanes from kits, I'm like, oh, it's probably like the little ones that you fly with a remote control. It's one of these. And when I got to the program, I got to fly in one of these with our program director, Rick. And because of that, I got up about 1,000 feet over the beaches of Sarasota, and I fell in love with aviation. At that point, that's when I realized that I wanted to become a commercial pilot, and that the world of aviation is a whole industry that's growing by the day. And because of that, that's why I chose to go to Middle Georgia State University in Macon, Georgia, studying aviation science and management, and I haven't looked back ever since.
Well, I got involved after a friend, Lisa, recommended the program to me, because she had started before me and said it was a good source of volunteer hours. So that's originally why I started. And then I came and I had like a kind of test day, see what it was like, and I really enjoyed it. So I decided to stay with the program, and now I've been going every week. Working with the tools, I like the most, just learning how to use all the different stuff, because it's not things you usually get to use. So that was definitely very fun for me.
I mostly like just heard about it probably through social media. My dad found it and he was like, "Oh, this looks cool." And at first I just thought planes were just like cool, like any young kid. I liked planes and flying and stuff. And I've flown a lot overseas to different spots, sometimes in Europe, and I've been to Puerto Rico a lot. And so I've been in a lot of airplanes. And after a while with the program, at first I didn't really know that I wanted to go into aeronautics, but as I kept sticking with it and it was fun and I really enjoyed being around airplanes. I learned a lot about like the inner workings of an airplane, and honestly, it's a lot simpler than I thought it was going to be, and it really helped me understand how they fly and helped me love like airplanes in general a lot more and appreciate them.
This is my fourth year of being in this program. I started on plane number 3, which is the plane that we're behind right now. So I originally got into the program back in December of 2019, and it was just I went to a Young Eagles rally and I met Mr. Rick, and it just all started from there. Next thing you know, it's like I've always been interested in airplanes, but I never knew about this program. But as soon as I caught on with it, I just knew that I was going to stick with airplanes for probably the rest of my life. I think today is probably the best day of the program that I've ever had. Getting to see the airplane from coming in a box, looking just like a whole bunch of pieces of sheet metal covered in blue tape. And next, 2 years later, they're all combined somehow, and it's actually flying. So getting to actually see it fly is just probably the most amazing part, and getting to touch the controls and getting to see how it flies is just amazing. She flies beautifully. I mean, she flies like any other airplane that, whether it's factory built or even if it's kit built, it flies perfectly. There was no wind, that was no turbulence whatsoever, so it was basically fine up there. It wasn't too hot. The air conditioning was very well, even though it's just a propeller. And she just flies beautifully. Basically, the whole entire time I was flying, except for the takeoff. She handles very well. She doesn't, overturn or anything like that. She's not too sensitive, and she responds very well to her controls. I don't have my pilot's license yet, but still getting to experience the joy of flight and actually getting to know that what you built and have been building for the past 2 years has actually led up to this. It's just amazing.
Well, I forget where I've heard this saying, but if you find something you love doing, you'll never work another day in your life. And that's what I have to say about aviation. I love it, and when I get up in the morning to go to one of my 2 jobs that's as a pilot, I don't think of it as work. I just think of it as another day of the dream.
I've also noticed this in my engineering class. There's like not a lot of girls and women like who do this kind of thing. So a lot of female people might not realize that they enjoy this. So like getting to try it out and see that, oh, this is quite fun. I think it'd be good like for them to like get involved and such. Thinking maybe I'll go into engineering after I graduate. I'm not too sure yet, but I do quite enjoy my engineering class and all the work I've done on this plane.
When I first joined, my first probably like closer mentor was probably Presley himself. Just, he'd already done a lot of work on this first plane. And so when I started with him, basically he would just kind of show me along the way. But the adults do a really great job of like making sure that everything you do is exactly to par. And like if it needs working on a scrap metal first before they're comfortable with you doing it on the actual plane, then they're going to take all the time they need to make sure that you get it right. Even Presley, who isn't officially a mentor, was really good for helping me and getting me used to doing all the things that need to be done.
It's not necessary that you have to be a person who's, really smart. You don't have to have like a high IQ to build airplanes. It's really about wanting to learn. It's getting to learn about all these different things, like how an airplane actually works, how does every single mechanical part work in here. It's wanting to learn that actually helps you. It's not that you have to be smart to learn how to do this. And precision is actually very, very important with this aircraft, since the RV-12 is a light sports aircraft. Even though it's experimental, it's a light sports aircraft, which means you only need 5 hours to get certified. So the difference between an experimental and a light sports aircraft is an experimental, you need 50 hours, and you get to modify certain parts, but with the light sports, you can't modify anything. So everything has to be exactly as the book says, and if you don't do it as the book says, can't get certified. So precision is extremely important, and everything has to be done up to par, as Carter said. So it's very important, and wanting to learn about airplanes is also very important about this too.
There was one time when we were riveting, doing a lot of riveting on, I think, maybe it was the tail cone. And so we had 2 groups of 2 working on each side. And the group across from me, we decided to start a little race. And we wanted to see who could get their part done faster. So the group across from me, they started going really fast. And eventually they realized that the rivets they put in weren't flush against the thing. So they had to drill out all of them and redo it all. So that really goes to show how it's very important you're careful about the things you do.
With the amount of precision you're doing building this aircraft, you're going to take that detail-oriented mindset and you're going to apply it subtly to different ways of your life. Just thinking about it, just a simple drive going to school or work, I'm a little bit more detailed-oriented. Like, okay, if I want to stop for coffee, I better plan this ahead so I don't run late to my class or whatnot. Aviation isn't one of these jobs that are being thrown around. When you go to high school, the stereotypical high school's throwing out, you have to go to college, you have to go to college, you have to go to college. That's not necessarily true. Aviation is a whole world in of itself, just like computer science or automotive racing, for example, right? With that, you have jobs such as the aircraft manufacturing side of it. You have air traffic control side of it. You also have airport operations that run and manage the airport, as well as the pilots that everybody knows. Because of that, this program is one of the many different avenues that can spark that fire for people to get enthusiastic and excited about a career in aviation, and it is very rewarding.
Something that many high schoolers are worried about is volunteer hours, and I'd say this is a very good source of volunteer hours because you also have fun and you also learn things. And you also do get those hours, which is very important.
I think it's worth trying this at least one time and coming for like a week or 2 just to even if you're not into engineering or really don't know anything about airplanes, because it's just a great experience to have to see the construction and the engineering going on. And if that's for you and you would have never known otherwise than if you had experienced that. And you're also going to meet new people who are going to help you in life, and they're here to help you with your future career.
It's never too young to start with aviation. No matter what age group you are, there's always some way that you're able to get involved, whether it's going to a Young Eagles rally, joining us at Teen Aircraft Factory, or even just interning at the airport like Carter did. It's never too late, or it's never too early. You can always get into aviation whenever you want. And it may not be for you, but always try new things, as Carter said. It's always a great way to get into aviation, but do what you want to do, and I think everybody will love it here, honestly.
Well, I hope to see some new faces at Teen Aircraft Factory, because not only us here, but you could be the future of aviation.
We both went through the engineering program at Pineview. We were both in the same engineering class all 4 years of high school, and we were also both introduced to the program through Roger Siegel, who was our calculus teacher and physics teacher at Pineview. And he came into our engineering classroom, gave us a big presentation because he had gotten involved and he thought it was a great program, and we agreed. So we all showed up for our tour day. I remember us being there together as well. And it was just, we got hooked right from the start. It was just so intriguing. It kind of made no sense that it's a program like this so close to home. And the ability to like build a plane. I still get that same reaction every time I tell someone that, like, you're building a plane, really, a real one, right? And the experience was throughout the whole 2-year period this happened. It was just great all the way. I can still remember all the different parts I worked on, how that happened, and
Well, so like he said, we're in the same engineering program and we heard about this opportunity. And just to add on to that, because at that time I knew I wanted to do some kind of engineering, but I was unsure about what field, like what I want to specialize in. So I heard about this program and I thought to myself, oh, aerospace engineering, that sounds pretty cool. I want to try this out. And as soon as I started, it was just so interesting. And I'm like, okay, this is the field for me. So yeah, I think it was really helpful for me personally that I figured my passion out through this program. I think it's definitely important to have this diversity, you know, for young women to become more encouraged into the STEM fields. And I would say that just believing yourself, because a lot of the times you think that, oh, women in STEM, you know, sometimes it's maybe harder for women, but it's really not. Just follow your passion and try it out. You might really like it and you'll be successful. I think the most important part of this for me is that I get to do this hands-on experience, because in the classroom it's more like theoretical knowledge. So you rarely get the opportunity to like really get a hands-on project and build an entire plane.
I think I got to have the chance to work with my classmates who happened to be part of the program as well. That was a great experience. And being under the number of mentors, I don't remember the number, but I remember the mentors telling us that they have some number of hundreds of years of aerospace experience in all their careers total. And being able to work under all of them and learn so much from Brad, from Ron, from Jim, it's all just that's been fantastic, being able to work again under such practiced hands. I mean, same as in school, in high school, it's very important to have someone above you that can tell you where you're going wrong. If you're making a mistake, they can stop you before, or depending on the size of the mistake, they're content with letting you do your own thing, and if something goes wrong, it's your job to fix it. And they're that helping hand that keeps you on track. And that's definitely what we needed, and we definitely got it.
They're really nice, they're really helpful, they're really knowledgeable about this plane because they've done it so many times, and they can really guide you to when you don't know what you're doing, or if you are unsure about anything, you can just ask them and they will guide you, they'll help you. I would definitely recommend it because it's an amazing program. You don't get opportunities like this every day.
I'd say just come and try it out. The commitment, that 3 hours every Saturday, is something that most people can pull out of their schedule, and it's something that isn't going to detract from your week or anything like that. Come and try it out, spend some time, work under these really awesome, experienced mentors, and build a plane. Just, it's fantastic. Right now, it's really easy for students around Sarasota, Manatee, Bradenton, these areas in Florida to give that opportunity to students, but there's only one plane, and even we had something like 30 kids working on this project throughout that full time. Not all of those are here, of course, but you know, people flit in and out, life happens, but we had that number of kids working at one time. And if we had another plane, if we had another location, you'd get people from more places, and that expansion would be really great for the program. Sum it up, Teen Aircraft Factory gave me the opportunity to figure out what I wanted, to nail down what type of engineering I wanted to start with in college and how I wanted to pursue that career. And it did it better than almost any program I could imagine doing.
Yeah, like Connor said, there's been a lot of people wanting to join this program, and I think there was a wait list that went on for several months. So I think this expansion could really give those kids an opportunity. And also, when we're working on the plane, sometimes we're all crammed into that small part of the plane. We can't really get that many people to work on one spot at one time. So if we had more things for people to do, it will be a much better experience for those kids, rather than just standing there waiting. You know, they could actually have something to do and actually enrich their experience. Yeah, I think this is a great opportunity if you want to get your hands in for STEM, just any kind of engineering or any kind of STEM related. This is a really nice experience.